Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside AWAI, understanding what copywriting clients want and how to approach them. I'm very excited about this session. It came from two different people. It actually came from Pam Foster, who is going to lead this today, and also from many, many, many of our members. Part of our thing with Inside AWAI is to tackle these topics that we sometimes take for granted. You know, we've been in the industry for so long, we know who the players are. We might answer the question quickly and say, oh, here's what the clients are, here's what they want, and don't really think about, okay, if you don't have a background in marketing, if you don't understand this industry, do you know who all the people are and what keeps them up at night and what they're looking for when hiring a copywriter? So we get the question all the time, and Pam had just gone to a trade show and thought, you know, I met with all of the clients, the types of people that AWAI members need to be approaching. And after getting back into that world and talking to them one-on-one, I realized I can explain each of the players now, who they are, and how to actually get in the door to solve their problems. So I really want to do this session. So here we are today. So I tell you that for two reasons. One, getting clients is the big mystery part of all of this, right? To make a living as a writer, we need to get clients who are willing to pay us good money. That means they have to understand our value and be excited about what we deliver, you know, the value that we provide. That's part of this. And understanding how to get your foot in the door is an important part. So we're going to cover a lot of that today. In addition, I wanted to mention that this Inside AWAI, we do this for you. So if there is a topic that you want covered, you know, we've done LinkedIn profiles, we've done pricing, we've done building out roadmaps, retainer deals, all kinds, picking a niche, all kinds of topics, many of which have come from you, our members. So if you have any ideas or things that you want us to cover, you're going to get an email from me on Monday that has my email address, although it's askrebecca@awaiionline.com. But I invite you to give me ideas, whatever you want us to cover. This is your time with us, so whatever you need. And then at the end of this, we're going to open it up for questions. So whatever questions you have that we don't answer, put them in the Q&A. Let us know what questions you have. We will be here as long as necessary just to make sure that you have this, you are able to take full advantage of this opportunity. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just introduce you to Pam really quick in case you're not familiar. She is now our Director of Copywriting Training, but she has a corporate and freelance background. She's been an AWAI member for 11 years. Funny, we just wrapped our 10th annual Web Copy Intensive this week, and she was at our very first intensive. She was one of the only people to have been to all 10 Web Intensives. So that was pretty cool. I actually met her there, and it's been amazing to watch the transformation of someone who was once an attendee and then started writing for us and then became an expert in her own right, wrote some great programs for us, including the ones that you see on the screen, like working effectively with web clients. And then we let her do a webinar, and then she took the stage, and now she's one of our most popular speakers at boot camp and just helped host the Web Copy Intensive. So it's been awesome to watch the transformation. That's part of our joy at AWAI, is watching you transform from wherever you are right now into the person or the writer that you one day want to be. She's also a Circle of Success instructor. If you're not familiar with that, you'll learn about that more in the next couple of months. Circle of Success is kind of our more advanced training, if you will. When you decide, if you decide you want to go all in and be a copywriter and want really focused training and a plan to follow and step-by-step instructions and experts, more like a classroom setting over a couple of years, that's our Circle of Success program. And Pam is one of the lead instructors there. And like I mentioned, she teaches at Boot Camp Web Copy Intensive and officially joined our staff in 2015. We loved working with her so much that we went to her and said, how about you just join us full-time? Maybe you should just come work with us all the time, which might happen. Your clients, we're going to show you how to get clients. Sometimes your clients will want you that badly. So with that, Pam, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okie dokie. So just very quickly, in all of that background, you can tell that I'm kind of old. No, I've been around for quite a while. But what's been cool about that background is that I have had every kind of scenario you can think of as a copywriter. I've worked in-house in a corporate environment. I actually worked for LL Bean at one point because I'm a Mainer, and pretty much everybody in Southern Maine works at LL Bean at some point. And then I worked in corporate America. I was a copywriter, and then I became a manager of a creative department, so I would then hire copywriters. And then I was a freelancer, and I was a copywriter and message organizer for a startup, and I've done training. I've been part of virtual teams, which you might have a chance to do, and we'll talk about that, where you meet a web company and they don't do copy, but they have a great client, so they need someone to come on board as a virtual team member, meaning they're not part of the permanent staff. They just come in as a contractor or freelancer. So I'm speaking from every single angle I can think of where you might end up being a copywriter. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, because every one of those angles has potential and also different little differences and subtle nuances of what they need from you and what their understanding of copywriting is. So the whole thing that we teach at AWAI, in order to be a successful copywriter, is to know your prospect. And if you're a freelance writer or even an in-house staff writer, you need to know your prospect, because it's a major factor in your success. If you're not writing directly to that prospect's hopes, needs, desires, what they're looking for, and you don't understand their situation, it's going to be awfully hard to convince them that you have the best solution for them. So, that goes for what you're offering copywriting clients as well. What do you know about them? How can you actually...
Hey, Pam.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Volume is a little bit low. Can you get closer to your mic or speak a little bit louder?
Yeah. Cam had me turn it down earlier. Is that better?
I'm so loud, everybody probably turned down their speakers, and then you came on and sounded normal, which sounded fake. So thank you.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be louder. Is that better?
That's perfect. At least it is for me. Can I get like a thumbs up from everybody? If that's good, raise your hand. Can you hear her better?
I'll keep talking for a minute so I can. Okay. I think it's better. All right.
Sounds good to me. Good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I apologize for that. Yeah. So what I was going to say is it's critical to know the client's mindset, because how you speak to them when you meet them in person, when you are writing your web copy that's directed to them, when you're chatting with them possibly on LinkedIn, you want to know what they're thinking about and how you can help them. So we're going to look at 5 different main client types that I've come across in my career, and the things that they're looking for specifically, some insider tips on how to approach them, and then we'll have time for Q&A, of course. And as we're going along, the team is going to be looking at questions and answering them, but they also might be flagging some of them for me to answer. So I'll get to those at the end of my talk, and I'm going to ignore them for the moment so I can get through all the slides and make sure I'm covering everything that we need to for you. Okay, sound better? Does it sound better, Rebecca?
It does to me. They're still saying it's a little bit quiet, so just if everybody could adjust their volume on their phones, what they're listening to, that might help as well. It sounds good to me, and it sounds good to a lot of people. So I think we just might have some low volume. Again, I think everybody probably turned it down when I started talking because I'm loud.
Okay. One person is saying it sounds raspy. I'm not sure how to change that, but if he's the only one, I don't know.
Just keep going. Just talk up as loud as you can. You sound good.
That just means sexy, Pam.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like Jessica Rabbit. Okay. So, like I said, I've been in many situations. This picture here is with one of my clients at a trade show, and they are people who have a small, very successful business in a super narrow niche, and they have a marketing director, but they don't have an in-house copywriter, and they're not really all that familiar with different types of copy, web copy, search engine optimization, email, landing pages, all of that. They've done catalog marketing for a long time. They had a website that was okay, but together I have helped them a lot with blogging and other things, new website copy that has really made a huge difference to them. So this is one kind of client you might have. So, you know, you also might be a freelancer where you're just doing projects one at a time. You might be a freelancer where you're on retainer for a year. to do, X amount of copy each month, 5 blog posts, several web pages, a couple of email campaigns, maybe a monthly e-newsletter. So that would be a retainer agreement where you get paid a certain amount a month on contract. And then virtual, again, I said there are web firms that brought me in, or there was one B2B, business-to-business ad agency that brought me in to write specifically direct response copy because they had copywriters that wrote more sales materials like trade show materials and advertising, but not specific web, direct response. And like I said, I have hired copywriters, and I do at AWAI. We need blog posts and other kinds of copy all the time. So when you're thinking about your own clients that you want to try to attract, first think about, ask yourself this: what kind of client do I want to work with? Do I want to work with a marketing director at a mid-sized company in a field that I love? Do I want to work one-on-one with ad agencies? What type of business do they have? What type of industry are they in? For example, I work in the pet industry and the veterinary world. I know other writers that work in manufacturing and corporate safety and food and wine. I met someone the other day who wants to work as the craft beer copywriter. How fun is that? So then you have to think about, what is he or she looking for specifically? What kind of copywriting? So are they looking for online? Are they more of a sophisticated direct marketing publisher that needs tons of really cool long-form sales letters? And then what are that person's struggles and hopes? We're going to go through that in a minute. But for your own specific customer, what would be that person's struggles and hopes? And then what major pain can you solve as a professional? One thing I want you to keep in mind as a copywriter, whether you're new or very experienced, is that most clients don't know much about copywriting or content marketing or any of the different types of platforms. They don't know much because they're trying to run a business or a marketing department. They're not spending a lot of time learning the craft of copywriting. So you have a lot more power and value than you think. So I just want you to keep that in mind. The overall demographic profile, in my experience, looking across the whole landscape of hiring clients, they're generally 35 to 55 plus. They're not going to usually be a lot younger than that because they haven't gotten to the level where they would be hiring copywriters. Usually. This is a sweeping picture. There are exceptions, of course. It could be male or female. The person usually has a college degree, perhaps even an MBA, Master's in Business. It's usually at the professional manager level, or it could be a business owner. In the case of a smaller company, you could be working directly with the business owner. It could be that they are a business-to-business industry supply company. For example, people who supply parts to manufacturing facilities. Couldn't come up with that word. They could also be business to consumer, selling directly to consumers, either online or in retail stores, that kind of thing. They could also be nonprofits, or it could be an organization that does a mix of those things. Like think about Staples, for example, the office supply store. They sell direct to consumer and they sell to businesses. So, it depends on what you're looking for, but this is the overall profile. They could be located anywhere, and that's the beauty of what we do. We have a chance to work with clients anywhere in the world. And many of our copywriting members do. They work with clients in Germany or Japan or Canada, US, anywhere. It doesn't matter now because we're all online and we all have the tools to work with each other. And then the biggest thing that it's important to keep in mind is that probably every client you're going to come across is an extremely busy professional who has a lot of pressure that isn't related to copywriting or content, it might be, meeting with bosses once a week, managing staff, making sure campaigns are scheduled for the year out, making sure budgets are being met. So there's a whole lot of complexity to their jobs. And quite often, like I said, the client you're going to talk to most likely will have little or no knowledge of what makes copywriting really work well. So you're going to be their guide. You're not just going to be kind of an order taker copywriter where they say, we'd like 6 emails, and you go, yes, okay, I'll write them, and they'll know exactly. I mean, you really are going to have to work with them as a guide, and it's fun, actually. You're going to be seen as a hero, an advisor, a trusted ally, because you know what works in copywriting and they may not. And you can also suggest testing. So let's look at these 5 different types. The first one is something I'm very familiar with, is a marketing or marketing communications, which we call MarComm, director in a corporate environment. And it might be a mid-sized company or a larger corporation, but this person is leading a department, and they're responsible for marketing or marketing communications in some capacity, and they're probably leading a team where there is a marketing assistant, someone who is maybe graphic designers on the team, maybe a web person, and maybe or maybe not other copywriters. But you're going to be brought in for your expertise on certain projects. So you have to keep in mind that this person is juggling many different flaming arrows at once on a given day. So let's see, what is that person's responsibilities? First of all, they have to usually develop the strategic marketing plans for the company. They have to come up with, who are we trying to reach and how are we going to reach them, which media we're going to use, how often we're going to put that out there, and all of it. Develop a calendar for the year. So first quarter, we're going to do this, this, and this. Second quarter, we're going to have an event. Third quarter, we're going to roll out a new website. I don't know. But they have to plan all this out. And then they have to coordinate those campaigns with their team, and also perhaps multiple vendors, like photographers, outside printing vendors, other kinds of list brokers who give them email lists to communicate with. All of these details. And then the biggest role I remember from my corporate days had to do with meetings. Meetings. You were often in charge of kind of pitching or selling the marketing campaign ideas to gain executive approval, because you were responsible and you have to report to them, and they want to make sure that you're going in the direction that fits the company's brand or direction, all that good stuff. So you have a lot of pressure because they're wanting to see really cool campaigns that are going to bring in results. In addition, they have marketing intake meetings. So in their company, there are people responsible for the different product lines, and they all need marketing campaigns. So they're going to sit with those people and say, what do you need? What kind of results do you need? How can we support your salespeople? All of that. And then they are going to be reporting on campaign performance. They're going to be standing up at senior executive meetings and showing how the campaign worked out, and hopefully it was a good thing. Otherwise, they look like mud out there, and it's not a fun place to be. They're also in charge of the overall branding, so logo, voice, how they're being presented, even in customer service when the customer service people call in. It's amazing. There's so much on that person's plate, and they may also be the media or PR spokesperson. Okay, so do you think that they're super busy people? Yeah. And do you know what they would love more than anything is to find a great copywriter who can make them look good and make their campaigns work really, really well. What keeps this person up at night? Well, worried about marketing promotions running smoothly on budget and bringing in the forecasted leads and sales or exceeding them. Their nightmare is being embarrassed by poor performance or errors, looking bad in front of the executives, or potentially losing her job. So pressure, pressure, pressure. You have to think about that when you're approaching them, and you're going to be the person that relieves a lot of that pressure for them through your messaging and copy. Okay, very briefly on chief copywriters. Now, this is a role in a direct marketing company like ours, and like Agora and Oxford Club and Rodale Publishing. Those are really savvy direct marketing companies. Their role is similar to marketing directors, but they know what works in copywriting, and they're actually always testing things to improve results. This means that they constantly need fresh ideas to test. So they're different from marketing communication corporate people who really don't have the mechanisms to test different copy variations or anything. So they may not need as much copy as a publisher would, because the publisher here is going to be always needing fresh ideas. And then they track the results and they report on them almost daily. Now, what keeps the chief copywriter up at night? Well, there is intense pressure to always improve results, and there's an uncertainty. Is the copy working? Is it going to the right list? Could we be bringing in more leads and sales? Are we meeting our projections? You know, there's if you're not familiar with the word control, there are, in the publishing world or any kind of direct marketing world, the sales promotion that's currently working the best, whether it's a long sales letter or a landing page or even a small Google ad, they always want to be beating that because it will mean more leads and money. So, you know, how can we always work on beating that control? It's always on their mind. And their nightmare is flat or lower responses or sales or not driving steady, healthy revenue. That's their nightmare. Again, copy is going to be a major part of their success here. Then we have the small business owner or manager. This will likely be a local retail or service firm, such as the CPA firm here. That's a main CPA firm, small firm, maybe 12 people on staff, or it's a small online company. Like a lot of startups are small online companies, or there may even be small online companies just, you know, who prefer to sell only online. Or it might be a consultant. They wear many hats beyond marketing. They're running the business. You know, they're running everything, overseeing just inventory. And if there's a retail store, they might be overseeing their product displays and staffing and all those things. So marketing and copywriting is very likely to be a mystery to them. They know they need to be out there, but they're overwhelmed. So we can be a superhero there. Their responsibilities, like I said, if they're retailers, inventory, cash flow, staffing, I'm not going to read every one of these words because my eyeballs are starting to cross when you think about all the things that the small business owner or small business manager has to think about. It almost makes your head hurt. And in a service firm, they might have to do all that, plus they have requirements for continuing education or CE, certification, licensing. Like I work in the veterinary space, and veterinary professionals have to get continuing ed credits every year. So they're always thinking, okay, I have to keep advancing my expertise and then also run this business and be profitable. They have limited knowledge of copywriting, online marketing, social media, search engines, and they have limited resources to manage it all. They have to trust vendors like us. They have to. A veterinary practice, a CPA firm, they're not going to have a marketing expert or a copywriter on their staff. So they have to trust that they can find someone on the outside who will help them. What keeps them up at night, it's mostly their business concerns, you know, competition, trying to do everything, bad vendors that let them down. They're not showing up in Google. They're losing customers. They're letting the company down. And their biggest nightmare is marketing the wrong way. It's overwhelming to them now with, you know, gosh, so many different options. And they don't want to waste time and money trying to keep up. And they worry about sliding backwards because they can't keep up. So we can help them. Here's a fourth category. Ad agency creative director or ad agency account executive. That's what CD and AE stand for. Ad ad agency creative director, he or she will be overseeing the creative campaigns. They have to come up with campaign ideas and copy that will deliver so that they can make clients happy. The account executive may be someone that you also talk with, and they're in charge of the client and making sure they're like the client liaison between campaign, creative campaign development and results, and then talking to the client back and forth. The ad agency usually has an entire team to work on strategy, design, copy, media buying, but they may not have a copywriter with specific skills that are needed today for online marketing. For example, I worked for a while with a B2B, business-to-business marketing agency out west who found me online and asked me to be part of their team because they had a copywriter in-house, but that copywriter didn't understand direct response or website search engine optimization, SEO, and even email campaigns. Not really that kind of action-oriented copy. They didn't have someone with that expertise. So I came in, project basis, and we'd say, okay, here's a big project. We're going to work on it together. I actually met with the creative director and the account executive to hammer out the details so that I could ask questions and get the right information to do a good job. So these are people who were so happy to find me because it made them look good to the client, and they knew the campaigns were going to be done properly. So the creative director, in addition to overseeing the creative campaigns, they have to pitch or sell that creative to the account executive and the client. So all the ideas that they come up with, they have to pick the top ones and then show them to the client, and they have to, convince the client it's the best way to go. So there's pressure there. And then they're responsible for flawless execution of the campaign. So if it's going to be a website launch, that better be a fantastic website launch on budget and on time. And then they need to deliver results that make clients happy. And then the account executive is working on campaign strategies in a bigger picture where the creative director is just working on the messaging or the cool way it's presented. They're working on, the account executive is more involved with scheduling, monitoring the landscape, making sure everything is fitting into a bigger grand scheme, making sure everybody at the client's company knows what's happening, all that good stuff. And they also just day-to-day work with the client to get the information they need and provide the information the client needs. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, but I want to make sure that we have time to answer lots of questions because there's a lot to this. But what keeps...
And if I can jump in just real quick, because we are getting a lot of questions about just like the hiring process. So we're going to talk about all of that at the end, what it looks like. Do they come to you? Do you come to them? One thing I just wanted to, since I had this opportunity, one thing I wanted to point out that you had said early on, you made a comment before you go into the individual hiring people. You made a comment like you're the guide. They look to you, and that's a great position to be in. That might actually sound overwhelming to some of you on the call if you're brand new to this, that they might be looking to you to guide them. They oftentimes know what they want, but remember, you have access to all of our materials. You can literally teach our stuff, take our programs, learn it yourself, and then use it as your own methodology or system or process for working with clients. You can literally take something like the 4 Ps in our accelerated program for 6-figure copywriting and explain that to clients of how you're going to use it to ensure that your copywriting hits the mark. So if that felt overwhelming at all, know that it will get easier as you go, but you have access to all these amazing resources through AWAI that you can use to turn around and basically teach and or guide clients through this process. And we help you with all of that stuff. So just wanted to point that out. Pam, are you still there? Oh no, what happened? Pam? Pam, if you can hear me, we cannot hear you.
I think she lost her audio for a moment.
How ironic. Not talking about her.
I don't know if you can, well, Cam's probably IMing her right now.
Yes, I'm going to send her a message.
She lost all power, no Wi-Fi or electricity.
Ooh.
Okay, we'll give her a phone number to call back in if she wants to join us that way, and someone else can advance slides if that works.
We can do that.
Okay.
Pam, pass the ball to Rebecca. And
actually, I'm going to have you pass it. Katie's here. Sorry, guys. How ironic that right when I said, like, she would have just blanked out anyway. That's so weird. It was like we were connected somehow.
I think they're having thunderstorms.
Oh, my. Okay.
So, Cam, actually, you're going to text her a phone number, right? So you're texting Pam, and then Katie has the ball. So, Katie, because I will have to jump off in just a little bit, so I'm going to have you continue on with this, but she will call in just a second. Here she comes.
Cam's coming back?
Yes.
Okay.
She's going to call in. She won't be able to advance the slides, but she will be able to talk on all of them.
Yeah. Like the Academy Awards, she'll just say next. Pam, I know you're looking for her.
She's looking for Pam's phone number. I will text it to you right now.
Okay. Well, and I'm just going to jump in with a couple of the questions that we have so far. Rebecca, you touched on exactly what Marissa was asking about as far as how will your clients know what they want and what they don't want. Chances are if they've been doing any type of marketing, you'll start with that and then move on from either, improving and making enhancements to. You're not going to necessarily be starting something brand new out of the gate. And like Rebecca said, we're here as a resource. We're here to help you guide them. You're coming with the power of 20 years of expertise and pros behind you. Alan is asking, this is a big question, and I do want to get Pam involved as well. In your position in hiring copywriters, what do you look for in picking your copywriter?
Can I answer?
Yeah, sure. Sure, jump in.
No, you can answer first. I will waiting for Pam. I thought you were waiting for Pam. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead in case you had to go.
For me, writing is the first part. It's I want to see your writing, and even if it's just the email to me that's selling your services, that is your first test. That is your first sample. So remember what Pam was saying about how busy we are. Be polite, be respectful of our time, and be very clear with what you provide and what's in it for me, your reader, your potential client. What is the service that you're providing, and how is that going to benefit me? So that's part of it. Then samples, to actually see your writing. Early or oftentimes, new copywriters always ask the question, like, well, how am I going to get samples if I don't have any clients? And how am I going to get clients if I don't have any samples? Samples are truly just samples. If you want to write emails, write sample emails. If you want to write websites, write sample websites. It doesn't have to be for an actual client. I'm not looking for a laundry list of people that you've worked for. I'm just genuinely looking to see your copy. If you want to write an article for me, write a sample article and send it to me and let me see that you can write in a way that matches our audience. And then once I hire you, it's all about deadlines and the ability to take feedback and listen to what it is that we want and what we need from you as the copywriter.
And from my perspective, I want to know that you know something about our business, about our customers, what our intentions are and our goals are. I don't want to feel like I'm just you're sending out some canned letter to a group of people. Know something about the company that you're writing to, and why is it? What is it that you can add to the conversation that's going to help them further their goals? The other thing to remember is the clients need so much writing. They need so many different types of writing. So think about that too as far as entry points. It doesn't necessarily have to be big, long sales letters. It could be editorial. It could be emails. It could be ads. It could be things for their websites or special reports. The other huge thing as far as writers that stand out to us are people that come with ideas, that come knowing where there are maybe holes in what we're providing our customers and are coming up with a solution to help with that. Somebody that is very familiar with the industry as a whole and brings that type of insight. You know, copywriters are such curious people, and I want to see that curiosity in action and see how it translates into helping us deliver our message. Hope that helps.
Pam is back with us.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Pam.
I am so sorry. The whole street, the power just went out.
That
Crazy.
happens.
It happens.
Okay, so I'm going to advance the slides. Do you have anything more on number 4, ad agency, CD, or AE?
Did we finish what keeps them up at night?
No.
Okay, let's talk about that. That's slide 19.
Yes.
And you guys can hear me all right? I'm so sorry.
Yep,
yes.
We're good. Let's keep going. Go.
Okay, groovy. We can do this. We have the technology. All righty. So the agency people are very vulnerable to client success. Basically, I've worked for ad agencies, and you live and die by the client being happy. One client can wipe out half of the staff in an ad agency. It can be that serious. So, plus, practices, ad agencies have really big overhead quite often. They have a building they're renting. They've got all the costs of running the building. They've got the cost of having staff and paying salaries and all that good stuff. So there's a lot of pressure to get clients and then deliver results. Their biggest nightmare is that a campaign will fail, or a client will be upset or angry, or they'll actually lose that client and that revenue. So, consider that. When they're hiring you, they're excited to have someone that will make them, just keep humming along. We can go to slide 5, the owner of a web or design or consulting firm. This is usually a sole proprietor or some kind of tiny business where and the example here is my friend Deanna, who is a designer. She owns Hatch House Design. It's a graphic design company. Now, Deanna does not have a copywriter or any kind of team at all. She is her own business, and she pulls in who she needs depending on what her client is asking her to do. So, for example, she'd pull me in to write copy if she got a new client that needs a set of brochures or any kind of trade show materials or any kind of project, really. So that virtual arrangement works really well because they don't have a big overhead. It's very likely that most of these kind of professionals are working at home or in a very small office. They don't have staff that they have to pay. They don't have other issues of running the business. It's very simple, but they absolutely rely on different vendors to come in as needed. So you might have a great time connecting with a designer or a web company that doesn't, I know these two guys that have a web company and they work only virtually. They do the design and the programming, everything else they hire out, designers, writers, all of that. So you can have a lot of fun doing that together. You can go, pitch a client together. So try to look out for those opportunities. Now, the thing is, though, just like ad agencies, they do need to provide exceptional results, and they do need a steady client or project base. So they still, just like the ad agencies, live and die by having happy clients. So let's go to the next slide. What keeps that person up at night? Well, they're singularly responsible for making sure business keeps humming for them. They have to have steady earnings and happy clients. It might be hard to land clients because it's just one person, and they, once they get a big job, they might be so busy doing that the pipeline might be a little bumpy. But so it's critical for them to underpromise and overperform at all times so they keep the clients they do have. Their nightmare, again, like ad agencies, is a failed project, an angry or lost client, and unstable cash flow. However, when you work with people in that area, you don't want to just rely on them. You want to have several different types of clients, because if they do stumble or lose a job or anything like that, you don't have to sweat it. You've got other stuff in your pipeline. But it can be beautiful when you get a call from someone, hey, I see that you're a copywriter in the software industry. I'm a web developer in the software industry. Maybe we can get together and work on some projects. So that can be awesome. Now that I've just explained the 5 types, even with electrical issues here, something important to keep in mind is that all 5 types of these clients are marketers generally, and they need you. They need you. A professional copywriter they can trust to do a great job. So you have, I hope that you're excited and not intimidated by this, because this means you have many different opportunities to reach clients who need you. It's not just the big companies. It's not just the direct response publishers. There are a wide range of company types and client types that you can work with. So I just wanted to make sure that you feel actually encouraged that there's more opportunity than you thought. All of these clients are looking for a copywriter who will be a professional, and that's what these bullets here cover. You'll quickly get up to speed on their products and their company. They know you'll ask the right questions about the client's audience and the mission. You'll be someone who offers ideas in a cheerful and proactive manner. Gosh, I mean, at AWAI, we love getting ideas on new, blog posts or sales promotions. So we bring them on. They want someone who will write effective, results-oriented messages, who knows how to, and that's something you can absolutely learn through us. They need someone who can know how to write a variety of materials, because there are so many different types of marketing approaches today, whether it's websites, email, case studies, any of those things, or someone who's super focused and specific, such as video sales letters, search engine optimization. Those are very high-valued skill sets, all of those.
Pam, can I interrupt just for a minute? I may have slipped behind. I'm still on slide 21, but
I'm sorry. I should have said to go. I'm slipping through and not telling you to go with me. I'm so sorry.
So I apologize. I did jump ahead, but then I didn't want to get ahead. So
22 was basically what do all 5 of the client types have in common, and then 23 is the list I'm going through.
Okay. I apologize for that.
No,
we'll get in a groove here.
Yeah, we're getting the groove. Okay, getting the groove. Okay. So all of these things are what clients are looking for, basically. A professional who will do all of these things and just deliver clear, clean, error-free copy to finish my list, and then to meet deadlines and budget parameters. So in a nutshell, they're really just looking for someone who's a professional that they can count on. And they don't have to worry about not meeting deadlines or not having what they need for copy. And then we have a bonus on slide 24. And that would be if a copywriter has experience in the client's particular niche industry, they will feel like they've struck gold in finding you. And what I mean by that is a great copywriter can write about anything, pretty much. But if you're going into an industry to work with a client and you're not familiar with the industry, there will be a certain learning curve that you'll need to get up to speed. And the client may or may not be excited to have to tell you about that. Like, oh my gosh, I wish you already knew about this industry. So now on job sites like simplyhired.com and indeed.com, a lot of clients are posting jobs where they really would prefer someone with experience in their industry. This little example here for global hair brand, they're actually seeking a freelance beauty writer with a passion for hair trends, news, and education to write article content for brand blog geared towards stylists and salon professionals. They're looking for someone with experience writing hair and beauty content in the professional salon industry. So if you have a background in that, even if you haven't been writing a lot yet in that industry, but you have a passion for it and you're very stylish and you love following hair trends and style trends, you'll be a much better fit for them than someone who has no interest or background or experience in that niche. So that would be a bonus for any of the client types that we mentioned here. If you have experience in their industry, that is a definite plus. So let's move on to the fun part of, and I know Rebecca is going to help me, and Katie too, on how to approach these different clients. First of all, when you talk to them, whether it's in person or through LinkedIn or through your website, you want to talk about solving their needs. And I think a lot of new copywriters on their websites say something like, I've always wanted to write, and I love to write, and I'm a writer. And it becomes all about you, the copywriter, which clients, you got to flip it to the client, you know, the prospect, the client, and what they need. So you could say, because I used to own a hair salon and I know everything about hair products, you can trust me to write the best hair salon copy for you. You see what I'm saying? You're talking about what they need, not all about you. You want to show that you genuinely care about them. I told a story the other day of a prospect that I received through a referral, and they wanted to know how I work and my budget and everything. And I said, well, first, can we get on the phone and talk about your business? Because I really can't pitch anything or tell you anything until I know what you need and I know what your challenges are. So we got on the phone and I said, you know, what are you struggling with? What are you hoping to do with your communications? And they were thrilled because they had reached out to someone else and the other person just emailed back a rate sheet, which it didn't show at all that that person cared about that company. You also can, you know, it would be great if you use their language, especially in a niche. You're certainly going to speak to hair salon professionals differently than you would OSHA safety manufacturing engineers. So the more you can know the language, the better. You always want to demonstrate professionalism, and you want to drive the car. And what I mean by that is, again, and we'll talk about this, but they don't know much about copywriting. We know about copywriting. So we can drive the process by asking the right questions and following up and saying, you know, is this the message direction you want to go in? And then writing the copy on a schedule that you come up with. And things like that that are subtle, but they show that you know what you're doing and they can relax about that part. So,
that's huge, Pam. I can't stress that enough. That is a huge comfort level, and it does just set the tone. The other thing I would just add to this is think of it as a long-term relationship. That's what you're looking to establish here. And just like any other long-term relationship, you know, it's going to start slowly, most likely, and build gradually as trust is formed and knowledge is gained. We met someone at the Web Intensive that we were talking about who just a year and a half ago decided this is what he wanted to do, and he's trying to figure out how to get started. He found the companies that he wanted to write for, and literally for about 2 months, I think it was, he just sent them ideas. And, you know, he didn't expect to be paid for them, or he just, and, you know, we're not suggesting that everybody do that, but just think in these terms of what can you offer to the client that is going to, A, show you have their best interest at heart, you're willing to work hard, and you're willing to put a little bit of yourself out there in order to get the relationship going.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And most clients will be so appreciative. I mean, they might not respond in some ways because they might be just too darn busy to respond sometimes. So don't take it personally if they don't respond right away, but be persistent in a positive and helpful way, and just let them respond when they can, you know, and it might not happen for a while. We've heard some great stories over the last few months of people submitting ideas and stuff, and they thought, oh, well, I never heard from the client. I guess it fell flat. And then a few months later, they have a contract. The client went, you know, I was really busy and it was the holiday season and I couldn't get to this, but now we want to work with you. So never give up and keep putting the fires out there. So let's go to slide 26. One of the ways that you're going to approach clients is actually by helping them find you. Wouldn't that be swell? This is a software copywriter here, an example of her website, and her website talks all about the solutions she can offer software marketers. And she even has a special report they can download, boost software leads from social media by 475%. Holy moly, who wouldn't want that in the software industry? So she just put together this guide that a marketer in the software industry might be very intrigued by. And that's how you get the ball rolling. That's just one example. And also, we're not going to go deep into these examples today, but we do have several other inside AWAI sessions on getting your first client and marketing yourself and choosing a niche and all of that. If you go through all of those, and I think somebody can provide the link to you in the Q&A, you might find everything you need to start building your business. Another big way is LinkedIn. So this is a LinkedIn profile here, oh, sorry, 27, slide 27, of a B2B industrial manufacturing copywriter who also is knowledgeable in safety. So you might not be able to see the specific copy right there, but he is clearly positioning himself to solve the needs of marketers in that industry. So if somebody is in the safety industry for manufacturing, he is saying, if you are in that field, I can help. I've been one of them. That's awesome. And then he has it under his name, and he has it under a photo or article or post that he's done. He is talking to that specific client. So that's a nice example there. And by the way, we are recording this, so you can go back and watch it whenever you want. Now, here's another way to get your first client or start working with clients is to reach out to local businesses in your community. This is just a little bakery I found in my area. And, you know, in some cities, there are lots of bakeries all competing for business, you know. So if you can help one of them stand out more, you'll be a hero and you'll have a sample and testimonial and you'll get the ball rolling. So that's another idea, is just go local in your community and talk to business owners and ask them, you know, if they're happy with their marketing. And then the other one is trade related. So if you are in a niche market, you know, look for trade associations or trade journals that you could possibly write for. This one is a completely geeky veterinary trade journal that I have been writing for a long time. I've been doing blogging for them for about 5 years and other types of content. It's super narrow niched in the veterinary industry, but I get to write for them twice a month and I love it. And it gets my name out there to companies in that industry. So you definitely want to look at trade associations as a potential in for you. And then that was slide 29. Sorry, I didn't tell you to change.
That's okay. We're keeping up.
You're keeping up. Okay, good. So slide 30, keep in mind, in a nutshell, to wrap up this part, and then we can answer questions, clients, any client, will be overjoyed to have found a copywriter who truly is these things: a helpful advisor, an idea generator, and a reliable resource for results-producing copy. That is really what clients want, all clients. And now that you know those 5 different main types, you can approach them by offering these things to them and hit them where their pain point is. You know, you're too busy to worry about how the latest email marketing works. I can help. Or if you're worried that your website isn't showing up at all in Google on the first 1 or 2 pages, I can help. I can solve that. And this will be like, oh, thank goodness, I found someone who can help me. So that is it for the lesson part, and now we'll be happy to answer questions. Slide 31 is just questions. Put them in your Q&A. Now, I can't see the questions, but if you want to read any to me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yes, we answered some during our little hiatus there.
Okay.
But, Sue was just asking, quickly, can you share the lady's business name and email who does the web design consulting that you mentioned? Or if you want her to contact you directly and you send that to her?
Well, yeah, that's fine. It's Hatch House. It's just like it looked on the slide, Hatch House, H-A-U-S, because she's German, hatchhouse.com or hatchhousedesign.com. You might have to Google it, but then you'll find her. And her name is Diana. Yeah.
William is asking, I sometimes see an organization's pain by visiting faulty web pages. Oh, Pam, this is right up your alley. Such as an about page that doesn't tell a visitor what he/she wants to know, or a product service description that's too jargon-laden. How should he approach them without being offensive? And you know, Pam has this wonderful program called all about how you do audits of people's websites and then make proposals to them based on what you find, and it's a beautiful and very professional way of doing exactly this. But Pam, can you give us that answer in a nutshell?
Sure. A lot of people ask me about approaching a website client that you know their website's in pretty lousy shape. The only thing I have to say is that hasn't worked really well for people because the client, A, doesn't know his website necessarily is bad. B,
and he may have written it himself, so you have to be very careful.
I was just going to, yeah, he may have written it, or his son, his adult son who just got out of college may have written it and convinced his dad, oh, I can do this. Or they just spent a ton of money on design, which is a lovely design and the worst messaging on the planet, or you can't even find any copy. But they're going to be defensive. So and they may not believe that it's broken. So here's the thing that is much easier is to find clients that already know they need help. That's it in a nutshell. I would not even waste my time on clients that don't know they need help because it's really hard to educate them and tiptoe around that defensiveness and get the money out of them that you feel you should. But through LinkedIn, and if you have a good website, and again, look through our archives, you will have clients coming to you and they recognize you. They might already be searching online for help. Like if somebody calls me and says, oh my gosh, our website needs a blog or we need new copy, and I'll say, how did you find me? I typed pet copywriter into Google. Ding, that's what you guys want to have happen. You want clients to come to you. So it's a lot better because they already are ready. They're already there. They're already anxious to hire someone who can help. And then there are also clients like us who have a Write For Us page on our website, and you can Google, I think, AWAI Write For Us, and you'll find that web page. Or maybe it's Write for AWAI that you could Google, because I don't have any capacity to tell you the exact thing right now, unfortunately, without Wi-Fi here. But and then you'll see where we actually invite people to submit submit ideas for sales copy and for blogs. So we're already there. We already want great copy. And so that's the gem, is if you can find clients that already they already know they need you.
Okay. I do just want to remind everybody that we are recording this. This will all be posted, including the Q&A. So if there's anything you want to go back to, you'll be able to see the slides and listen to the conversation as well. Okay, Holly, I'm ready to start trying to get clients, and my niche is the travel industry, hotels, tours, etc. I can't decide whether to approach them via email or hard copy USPS. What do you think?
I would say yes.
Yeah. Try both. Test.
Exactly. Try both. You don't know. One might love getting something in the mail, and the other might respond to an email. And don't just get discouraged if your first effort isn't a thundering, success, because sometimes it takes many touch points, right?
It does. And the thing is don't do a mass. Don't have a mass mentality. Really look at each company and think about how you can personalize it, and definitely test the. Try postcards, try something in the mail, try emails, try phone calls. Find what you're most comfortable with, and then find what's most effective. It's going to be about the message itself is going to be the most important thing. And if you look through past Inside AWAIs, we have covered this many different ways. We have so much information on our website as well, too, about how to do this, and you can see how other people have done it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard from people that have been, called me up frustrated and, this isn't working for me. I'm just not getting any response. And I'm like, well, how many companies have you contacted? Well, 3. I'm like, well, it may take more than 3. Let's just put it this way. It may take more than 30. It may take, more than 50. You just have to keep trying and learn from whatever feedback you are getting and keep refining. And the other thing to keep in mind is many times this happens is even if you don't get an immediate response, you might hear from them 3 months down the road, 4 months down the road. If there's companies that you want to work for, I would think about ways of keeping in touch with them in a way that is helpful and not a burden for the person that you're sending them to. So if it's somebody in the travel industry, maybe send, if you find some interesting blog post or some interesting tip or something relevant that applies to them that's going to make their job easier, fire it off to them. Oh, I saw this and I was just thinking about you. I agree, and I think that this is a great approach for how, this is something that your customers might be interested in. Those kind of things, mix it up. Don't do anything too formulaic or that feels cookie cutter, but you want this person to feel that you're engaged in their business and you care about them. So try them all.
Yeah, I was going to throw in that one of our members, Steve Maurer, is like the LinkedIn king. He works LinkedIn like I've never seen in my life. And we showed you his slide earlier where he set up his profile on LinkedIn. He will post articles. He will comment on articles that are posted by people he'd like to work with. He will reach out to people he'd like to work with and introduce himself. If you sign up for the premier version of LinkedIn, I don't think it's really extraordinarily expensive, but you can have much more access to people you'd like to work with and just reach out and say, hey, I'm a copywriter in your industry and I just saw this amazing article, or I just saw your talk at a trade show, or whatever it is, and reach out one-on-one in a human and helpful way. LinkedIn is miraculously working really well for a lot of copywriters now. So make sure you have a great profile that is focused on what the clients need and work it, because it's, the free version isn't bad either. So.
Okay, oh boy, I do want to get to all these questions. Is this a good field for part-time extra income? Is the energy and time investment huge? It's an excellent field for that. It's a whatever you need it to be income opportunity. And the time and investment is, there is some startup. Absolutely, you do have to learn the basics, learn the foundations, learn how to help companies be more successful. But there's so many opportunities, so many different ways you can do that. Again, it doesn't have to be full, long sales letters. It can be helping companies with their blogs. It can be helping with social media. It can be helping with case studies or smaller type projects. So I do think there is a way, one way of doing this is, okay, well, how much extra would I like to earn? And then you back into it that way and find the projects that fit that, and then go out after the companies. We do a great State of the Industry report, which you can find on our website, the 2017 State of the Industry report. And there's a great section there on what some of the most common projects pay. I mean, that's one way of doing it. But the other thing is, learning these skills, learning persuasive writing is just going to help you be more successful in anything that you do. If you use it for copywriting or not, you're going to be a better communicator, and better communicators are just more successful in their work relationships and their personal relationships. So it's an investment of time and money that I think is so well spent. Oh boy, okay, I'm getting a little bit lost here. Hillary lives in New Zealand. How difficult is it to find clients, particularly in the USA where most businesses seem to be copywriting aware? Pam, do you want to take that, or I can?
Sure. Well, again, if you want to check out all of our Inside AWAI articles or presentations, there are several on clients, getting clients. And the thing about the U.S. is, yes, we're more copy aware, and it doesn't matter if you're in New Zealand, except, if a client wants to talk to you at a certain time of day, that might be an issue. But in general, we have a lot of members who are in Australia and New Zealand. So the thing is,
wherever businesses are selling, wherever there's money transacting, they need copywriters. So right. Even if copywriting isn't necessarily, doesn't seem to be as talked about or active wherever you are, I promise you companies need your services. If they have a website, they need your services. So when you put it in those terms and start looking through that lens, that's what copywriters do. Whatever helps companies communicate with their prospects, get their message out, grow their businesses. Pam, Scott has a question that he thinks is a silly question, but it's not at all. He's concerned he has too many niches. Should he just concentrate on, and I know you get that, another wonderful program that I recommend everybody investigate and take, Pam wrote, it's called Niche Yourself. And we've actually done a great Inside AWAI. We spent a whole hour on Niche Yourself. Which I encourage you, that's free, go check that out. But, Pam, my answer was it's best to start as focused as possible, knowing that, you're not marrying your niche. You're not, this is, you can always change, you can always adapt, but it just helps to get, when you're getting started, to have as single of a vision as possible. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Well, I haven't figured out how to clone myself yet. So until I can, it's really hard to immerse yourself 100% with gusto in more than one niche because there's so much going on in one industry. For example, like I keep bringing up, the pet and veterinary industry, it's huge. There's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of spending going on. The industry has its own events and journals and websites and all of that, and it's a daily thing just to keep on top of that one industry so I can keep the momentum going with my work and my knowledge. And I don't know how to do that again with another industry and then again with another industry if it's, you know, as a human being. I just don't know how to do that. And hey, my electricity just came back on. Whee! So I always think of it as standing on, here's an analogy. I'm on a lake and I've got my foot on a boat dock and I've got my foot in a boat, and the other foot. And the boat is starting to slide away from the dock. Am I going to jump in the boat or am I going to jump into the dock? One or the other. You can't do both or you'll just do a split and fall in the middle. So it's a lot easier to stay in one niche.
Okay, and Bill's asking, is it better to niche yourself by content or by type of writing?
Well, it all depends. I mean, I think like I showed you the example of the beauty industry people looking for a writer who understands hair salons and all that stuff. They're going to probably need a lot of different types of content.
I agree.
So, you know, you could be the case study king if you want to, but then who are you marketing yourself to? It's kind of like the world, you know. It's really hard to, I mean, some people have done that and have owned that, but as far as who are you marketing to, it's a lot easier if you just choose an industry.
Jennifer's just asking for clarification on slide number 4. You had the book, this is ad agency, CD or AE, flawless execution on budget and on time. She's just asking for more clarification on that.
On budget and on time?
Doing a good job and doing it on budget and getting it on time, right?
Well, basically with agencies, they have very, very tight, like companies, if they hire you, they have a little wiggle room maybe in their, you know, budgets or schedules because they're running it themselves. But with an ad agency, they have to answer to several different clients at once because if they're, you know, a booming agency, they probably have at least 10 different companies that they work for. So they have to be really tight on their schedules and their budgets. And once you deliver the copy, they then have to produce that copy in the various forms that you wrote it for and on their schedule. So they have to back in and make sure what you deliver is giving them enough time to do their work and deliver it on time to the client. So that's all I meant is they have got to meet schedules and budgets very tightly because they answer to those clients.
Yeah. Oh, Pam, we got to answer this question.
Okay.
It's from Patty, and any suggestions on how to prioritize all these great ideas? Indeed, LinkedIn, your own web page, sending inquiries. I want to do it all, but well, I just don't want to start several things and not complete any. How many times have we heard that?
Yeah, and I would say, in my opinion, start with all roads lead to your website. First and foremost, all roads lead to your website, and here's why. LinkedIn, which is fabulous, could completely change the way it works tomorrow on a whim. They could just decide, like Facebook does, we're going to change the way we do feeds, we're going to change the way your profile looks, we are in control of that. With your own website, you are in control of that. So you don't have to worry about some algorithm change or something. You just set up a simple website. You only need like 5 pages, the home page that talks to the client and how you're going to make them so happy. And then about you is your background and what that means to the client. Then you'll have a page of maybe samples, a page about your services, and a contact page. That's all you need to start with. And then, you know, polish up your LinkedIn in a weekend, your LinkedIn profile, and start connecting with people, you know, every a week. You know, it doesn't have to be this major effort to do the LinkedIn thing. But LinkedIn is going to link back to...
I got a quick question from Leanne that ties into that. Should a LinkedIn article be different than a blog post on your website? Just if you could put that in to the same answer.
No. Yeah, it can be the same. You can actually repost a blog post in LinkedIn. So it can be the same content, really, and just shared in LinkedIn. But what I was going to say is your LinkedIn profile should be linking back to your website, and if your website's not ready, that's not good. So website comes first, then LinkedIn, then start building on other stuff as you can.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. Keith is asking, what are some of the best ways to search for potential clients online? He's looking for emails, phone numbers of the decision makers.
There's a gold mine for you. It's called trade shows. So, for example, in the veterinary industry, there's an annual show that I just went to last month called NAVC, North American Veterinary Conference. And you go to their website and you scroll down the conference section to find the exhibitor list. And right there is a list of 720 plus exhibitors with links to their websites, what they do, their contact info. It is the best thing in the world to check out trade associations.
That's a great idea. But then think about, too, if you're looking for local businesses, maybe your Chamber of Commerce has something.
Yeah.
And it may be that you have to dig around a little bit. It may be that you have to send an email to a couple people within the organization to ask who hires copywriters, who is in the most need of copywriters right now. You do have to get a little creative. There's also, a wonderful resource from Target Marketing called Who's Mailing What. And if you go to our website and Google that, search for that. It's expensive. It's not a cheap service, but it lists every major marketer in the country, actually, and international as well, and does include the marketing director's contact information as well as information about what it is that they mail. So, there's plenty of ways to do it. You just have to do a little bit of that legwork. Okay, we're getting lots of thank yous.
I was going to say, it might be worth investing if you get a good client that then pays for that investment, like in one project.
Exactly. Or if you want to write for magazine subscriptions, or if you know that you want to write for, some very targeted niche that does a lot of direct response, they're going to be in that directory. It's totally in there. I think, Cam, do you see any that I've missed? There might be some new ones. What kind of niche would be wise for a nurse to identify, please? I really would like to recommend that you go through the niche inside AWAI that we did, because we can't just give you a quick answer on that. I don't want to shortchange your answer, and we did spend a whole hour on it. Because there's so many opportunities there. You could go within the B2B world. You could go within speaking to other nurses. You could go talking to people who need nurses. Once you start peeling back that onion, the possibilities really are endless. It could be on a specific concern or a specific type of practice. It really is endless. Okay, we're getting lots of good questions. Oh, this is kind of off topic, but how good of a storyteller do you have to be to excel at copywriting? Well, it certainly helps. Being able to tell an engaging story is a big part of being a copywriter. But if you don't feel that you are, don't let that stop you, because it can be learned. And that's what we do in our programs. That's what you'll learn by just reading all of our materials. If you have that skill, you are hitting the ground running. But if you don't have it, don't let that hold you back. But it is important, because that's a big part of how we communicate. And copywriting is all about communication. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, thank you for all these great questions. Oh, here's Leanne. Her niche is home improvement and design, and she's going to that trade show real soon.
Yippee!
Okay, just need advice. Okay. The recorded version will be on your member page, or will be on the Inside AWAI page, I'm sorry. So you'll be able to find it there.
Early next week, probably.
Tamara is asking, so if I were to research local restaurants and approach them, would it be better I have something set up online like a website or a LinkedIn first? You know, it's not necessary. It's a nice to have, but if there's if you're approaching, let's say, local restaurants, I think you can do it in person. I think if you write them a persuasive letter to get started, if you have some samples available to send them, that would be fine. You know, a website is pretty much like a business card these days, so it is good to have it up, but if there's an opportunity, don't let not having it up yet stop you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You're welcome to David and everyone else. Okay, last question. This is going to be it. How do you show people that you understand a type of copy without getting suckered into promising that your copy will accomplish something in particular? I'm worried about not having a satisfactory answer if someone is too. You know, you're dealing with professionals here. They know that this isn't a magic bullet, and that some things are going to work and some things are not going to work. There's no way you can guarantee results. All you're going to do is help them improve their business. So you just, and if somebody were to ask you, nobody would even ask you to guarantee anything. You're just going to do the best. You're going to learn. You're going to test. You're going to keep improving. And that's the mentality of the clients you'll be working with. Pam, do you have anything to add to that?
I have to apologize. I was reading the other questions.
Okay. This was, you know, if how do you show people that you understand a type of copy without getting suckered into promising that your company will accomplish something in particular? Marsha's worried about not having a satisfactory answer if someone is super anxious about results. And I'm just saying, you know, everybody's going to want for a winner and hope for a winner, but it's not going to be where you are forced, you know, the expectation is that you're going to necessarily deliver X results. It's, you test and you learn and you improve as you go along. I think it's more important that you, I'm sorry, Pam, I think it is important at the very beginning of any project that you do have a clear understanding of what the client's goals are, and you have that conversation with them, and that's when you adjust expectations. And if they do have something that's unrealistic, well, you say that at that point. But I can't imagine being in that situation, honestly. You know, 30 years in this business, I can't imagine that being a conversation that happens.
Right. Well, in the web example of trying to move up in Google results and things like that, there are no guarantees because Google does kind of what it wants to do as far as how it decides to rank certain pages. You could write beautiful content, but if the competition has been around longer, they may get ranked higher just because of their longevity. So there are all these wacky things, and you know, people who guarantee top rankings, that's only through paid ads. You cannot guarantee, you know, just regular web pages are going to move up to the top. But you can, what I do in that case is guarantee that I'll do my best work based on the best practices and, you know, what other companies have seen happen once they apply really good copy to their website. And, you know, and I make sure that I guarantee that they're happy with what I did, my writing work. But results are really hard to guarantee. Even in the measurable world of direct response, it's hard to guarantee anything.
And people really don't expect it.
Right. I've had that question maybe twice in 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're ready to go here. Let's see if there's any last-minute ones. Everybody's so appreciative. Oh, and Scott's ready to get to work. So good job, Scott. Lots of homework.
And thank you. I was going to say thank you guys for putting up with the technical glitch of my neighborhood going out of power for 20 minutes or whatever it was.
No problem. We just roll with it. That's how we work here. So
that's right.
Okay, well, thank you everybody, and I hope you'll join us next month for our next Inside AWAI. And I do hope, we covered a lot here, and we had a great dynamic conversation. So please go back and re-listen to it, study the slides, think about how you can apply first one of the things that you've learned, then the next thing, then the next thing. This all is a building process. And I just want to stress again, it really does start with having the foundational skills, because that's going to give you the confidence to move forward and to start approaching these clients. And anything we can do to help you with that, you know where to find us. That's what we're here for. Thank you, Pam, and thank you to everybody for being such a great group to have this conversation with.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.